Hey guys, Super Sheen Dog here, and I'm here with the Nintendo Switch, the newest home console handheld system hybrid from Nintendo. Now, this thing's been out for a good few weeks, so I figured I should give my first impressions and an overall look at the system. So, let's get into it.
Now, the first thing you'll notice about the Nintendo Switch is that it is very tiny, with the main unit itself being only slightly larger than a Nintendo 3DS XL. The system has a lovely 720p capacitive touchscreen, which is both very gorgeous to look at, as well as being very bright, vibrant, and colorful. It even has an auto brightness function, so the screen should never be too dark or too bright depending on how you're using it. Now, the battery life on the unit itself, Nintendo themselves say that you should be able to get at max about 6 hours of use on this system, assuming you turn the brightness and everything all the way down. But if you're playing a more resource-intensive game, such as Zelda, you can expect to get only about 3 at max. Now, I personally haven't done any extensive battery life tests, but I can say that these estimates sound about right. I personally don't take my Switch out and about with me, so I really don't see the battery life as that big of an issue, but if you tend to travel a lot, and you're not going to be very close to an outlet, that may be something to consider. The system itself, of course, uses game cartridges much like the 3DS, with it being a portable system. It has a headphone jack. There's also a fan on top of the system, which doesn't really kick in when you're in handheld mode. However, when the system is in docked mode, the fan does kick in to alleviate a lot of the excess heat generated by the system. The system uses a standard USB Type-C connection both for charging and for inside of the dock, as well as all of the extra controllers and accessories, so in the off chance that your charging cable breaks, you won't need to shell out and buy a proprietary cable. There's also a microSD card slot hidden right behind the kickstand. Which, speaking of the kickstand, it's relatively flimsy, and it's even designed to snap off and snap back into the system, so it's not like you're gonna break it or anything. It gets the job done, but if you're not satisfied with the one viewing angle you're able to get from it, you're going to want to get something better. Now, your main method of control on the Nintendo Switch is via the use of the Joy-Cons. The Joy-Cons themselves are very easy to detach and reattach to the system itself, as well as to the included Joy-Con grip accessory, which is designed to give you a more traditional controller layout when you're using the system at home, preferably in TV mode. However, since the Joy-Cons are designed to be more travel-friendly and small, a few compromises had to be made in terms of their functionality. The analog sticks on the Joy-Cons have a relatively low amount of travel, so if you're used to the larger amount of travel you would get on a traditional analog stick, these are going to feel a little bit odd to you. But it's not a deal breaker, it just takes a little bit of getting used to. The face buttons on the Joy-Cons are also rather tiny, being even a bit smaller than the face buttons on the 3DS XL. No doubtly a compromise to help make the system even more portable. All the face buttons are very clicky and very responsive. That also includes the triggers. The triggers are both digital triggers and not analog triggers, just like the ones on the Wii U. Now, while the digital triggers might be a deal breaker to some, to me, they're personally not, because the only games that analog triggers are really that useful for are racing games, and the only racing game I really play any of is Mario Kart, so it's not really that big of a deal to me personally, but just keep that in mind with the system. The Joy-Cons themselves also have built-in gyro controls, which are very responsive and useful in games such as Zelda, so you can, for example, aim your bow with a lot more precision accuracy than you could with a tiny amount of travel on the analog sticks. A very useful compromise. They also include what Nintendo boasts as HD Rumble, which from what I've seen, the only game to utilize that so far is 1-2-Switch, which I personally haven't played, so I can't say how well they actually work. Now, the Joy-Cons are very unique in the sense that they are very versatile in how you can use them. While you can indeed use them connected to the system in a traditional tablet-like controller configuration, you can also detach them from the system and then use them independently of one another, sort of like using the Wii Remote and Nunchuk on the original Wii. This I find to be very comfortable as it allows your arms and shoulders to be able to sit in a much more relaxed position. You can also attach the Joy-Cons into a Joy-Con grip accessory, giving the Joy-Cons the look and feel of a more traditional styled controller. This I find to be a very comfortable solution to using the system at home in TV mode, if you don't feel like shelling out the $70 for a Pro controller quite yet. I personally find this to be a suitable replacement for a traditional controller. I find this to be so comfortable, in fact, that I personally don't see the need to get a Pro controller quite yet, at least until games come out that require more finer precision control, such as Splatoon 2. The Joy-Cons can also be used independently of one another in a horizontal fashion in order to mimic a controller similar to the NES controller. This allows the system to be used in a local 2-player mode, with each player being able to have their own single Joy-Con. And frankly, I find this to be the least comfortable method of using the Joy-Cons by far, as the Joy-Cons are very tiny in the hand and I found my thumbs to be cramping up within minutes of just holding the Joy-Cons themselves. I personally don't see this being a very effective way of playing games such as Mario Kart in a local split screen in tabletop mode, but I guess it's useful in a pinch. The system also comes with 2 Joy-Con straps, which are supposedly designed to easily connect to the Joy-Cons and allows easier access to the 2 trigger buttons inside the Joy-Cons for 2-player play. Now, the problem with these Joy-Con straps is that they go in very easily, assuming you put them on the right way, but they do not come off easily at all. It takes quite a bit of force in order to get the straps off the Joy-Cons, which makes me wonder what the hell Nintendo was thinking when they designed these. These are the only accessories that have issues detaching from the Joy-Cons, and I honestly cannot understand why. I think it has something to do with the fact that the straps are designed to be ambidextrous, in the sense that you can use one strap on either Joy-Con, assuming you turn it the right way. But because of this, the straps go on easily, but they do not come off easily whatsoever. And it's also very possible to put the straps on the wrong way, and then, well, it is a bitch and a half to actually get the things off without breaking the thing. So personally, I am never going to use these straps ever again because they are just that horrendous. And personally, I didn't even find them to give you better use of the shoulder buttons because the shoulder button extensions that the grip provides is very stiff and not very easy to actually use. So those are a bit trash. Overall, the Joy-Cons are very well thought out and designed. They're very versatile, not to mention very expensive, and have very minimal compromises in order to help the system be more portable, as well as be used in a home console setting. So now, let's move on to the dock, and oh boy, this thing has issues. Let's start off with the good thing. The dock is designed to allow the system to easily be put in and taken out of the dock. The game shows up on your TV basically instantly when you put the system in the dock, and it shows up on the tablet screen when you pull the system out of the dock, also just as instantly. It's very easy to use, and it really is not any more difficult than just putting it in and taking it out. However, the dock itself, from a design standpoint, is flawed. There is absolutely no protection on the inside of the dock to prevent the system screen from getting scratched. There's no felt lining or rubber or anything. The only thing you have are these tiny little rubber feet at the very bottom of the dock, which do jack all. Because of this and the fact that the system screen is plastic, it is guaranteed that your system screen will scratch no matter how careful you are with the system. I have managed to scratch my screen after putting in and taking out the system from the dock only a handful of times. It was only a minor scratch on the very side of the screen, but it still happened and it shouldn't have happened. I honestly can't understand why Nintendo didn't think of putting something on the inside to prevent the screen from getting scratched. So because of this, you will need a good screen protector for your Switch. And not a cheap plastic one either, because from what I have heard, if you get a cheap plastic one, the heat of the system inside the dock is enough to melt the plastic off of the screen, causing large bubbles and therefore rendering the screen protector useless. Because of this, you're going to want to get a decent glass one, which really aren't any more expensive. I got a glass screen protector on my Switch within a week of using it, and I now have no issues. So I definitely recommend getting a glass screen protector for it right away. So now with all the hardware stuff out of the way, let's move on to software, and we'll start with the operating system. The operating system on the Nintendo Switch is very clean and very simple. The OS is also somewhat customizable in the sense that you've got custom themes for it. However, the only themes available for it right now are Basic White and Basic Black. But this does hint that there are going to be more themes available for it in the future. In terms of functionality of the operating system, there's not a whole lot here. You've got news, the eShop, your album for saving in-game screenshots, ability to pair controllers, change system settings, and put the system into sleep mode. The news section is basically what you'd expect, just a collection of gameplay trailers of upcoming games or games that are already out and they want you to buy, and things along that sort. The Nintendo eShop is Nintendo's digital online service, similar to the Xbox Marketplace and PSN and Steam, where you can buy your games and digitally download them to your Nintendo Switch's internal memory. However, on launch, there really aren't a whole lot of games available. Even a few weeks after launch, there still isn't a whole lot here. In fact, at launch, there were only 8 games to choose from. Now, there's quite a few more, but most of them are just ports from other systems or Neo Geo games. Really? There's not a whole lot here right now, but eventually there will be. The Nintendo Switch itself has the ability to take screenshots in-game via the use of the screenshot button on the left Joy-Con. So if you're playing a game and something really cool happens, or you happen to get a really nice shot, you can just hit the screenshot button on the Joy-Con and it instantly saves a screenshot to your album. The screenshots it saves are relatively low quality, only being 720p. However, you do have the ability to edit them by adding text on top of them, as well as being able to post them to several different social media sites. So it gets the job done, I suppose. You're also able to create and edit Miis just like you could on the Wii, the 3DS, and the Wii U. And Mii creation actually has a bit more options this time around, giving you the ability to make your Mii's hair color practically any color you want. You want your Mii to have pink Animu hair? Boom, there you go. Pink Animu hair is fucking fabulous. I personally gave my Mii a dark blue haircut, with blue being my favorite color. The Miis you create are able to be used for your profile pictures, which your profile is able to be viewed by basically anybody. You can even add friends to your friends list, however the only way you can currently do that is either locally, via people you've played games with, or through a friend code, as well as through apps such as Miitomo and Mario Run. Nintendo says they're going to add more methods of adding friends later on, but as of right now, this is all you've got. The system also has an airplane mode, which is useful if you're on an airplane. Duh. The system itself comes with 32 gigabytes of onboard memory, however only 25.9 gigabytes of that is actually usable for storing games and save data. So if you're going to be downloading a lot of games on it, you will need external memory. I personally have a 200 gigabyte micro SD card inside this thing, which I'm probably never going to use, but hey, it's good to have that extra space just in case. The system also has a home quick menu which allows easy access to sleep mode, auto brightness, manual brightness settings, and even airplane mode, which you can even access in-game, which is very handy for changing those settings right on the fly. So enough about all that crap, let's talk about the actual games. 1-2-Switch is a simple party game which shows off the different functionalities of the Joy-Con controllers. And quite frankly, I think it should be a pack-in game considering how little content there actually is to the game. I personally haven't even played the game, but from what I've seen and I have heard, it would definitely not be worth $50, and it really should just be a pack-in title with the system. Super Bomberman R. Now this game I am vaguely interested in, but just like 1-2-Switch, I personally don't think it's worth the $50. Honestly, it seems like a $20 digital download title, but from what I've heard, it's actually pretty alright. It's got online multiplayer, I think. Apparently works just fine. You know, Bomberman hasn't even had a game in how long? So it's nice seeing Bomberman come back in some way, at least, that isn't crap. Now for the games I actually have played on this system. Binding of Isaac, Afterbirth Plus. If you played Binding of Isaac on your PC or any other console, it's completely identical to the Nintendo Switch version, which is exactly what you'd expect. This game is absolutely fantastic to play in handheld mode and has been how I've been playing the game since I got it, and has actually been the reason why I picked it up for the Nintendo Switch, because this is a perfect game to play in a handheld configuration and on the go. This has become my new favorite way of playing the Binding of Isaac, and I really want to play more of this. This game is absolutely fantastic. And now, for the reason everyone bought this system on day one, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Now, I'm not going to go too deep into the game here, mostly because this isn't a Zelda impressions, it's a system impressions, but this game is absolutely fantastic. The game runs in 900p in docked mode, and it runs at a relatively smooth 30 frames per second. However, this frame rate could be more stable. There are some areas in the game where it runs at 30 frames per second, nice and smooth, no drop frames whatsoever, and then there are other times the game absolutely chugs and it feels like you're playing a PowerPoint presentation. Maybe not that bad, but it gets pretty bad at some points. However, the places where it does get bad are in towns or in relatively tame environments where you're not going to be doing anything that requires precision control and a smooth frame rate anyway. It's just kind of a mild annoyance. However, this game is absolutely gorgeous to look at. The graphical style they chose for this game is fantastic. Very simple, very colorful, very vibrant, really shows off what the system is capable of doing. And just the fact that you can play a game that looks and runs this incredible in the palm of your hands is absolutely incredible. And the amount of different things you're able to do in this game is also insane. You want to beat the shit out of some monsters? Fucking do it. You want to climb a mountain? Fucking do it. You want to jump off a mountain and glide through the air? Fucking do it. You want to ride your shield like a snowboard? Fucking do it. You want to take a selfie? Fucking do it. You want to ride your horse through a thunderstorm? Fucking do it. You want to fight a giant ancient laser firing tentacle thing? Fucking do it. Do you want to find a giant flying glowing dragon thing and shoot its back with an arrow in order to get a glowing scale? Fucking do it. Just don't get too close. Yeah, that happens. Do you want to make a raft fly through the air? fucking do it. It just might not work that well. I swear I'm doing it right. Bobby! This game lets you do anything you want. It's absolutely fucking amazing. Go buy it now. This shit's amazing. There's dynamic weather and shit. 1 minute it'll be all nice and sunny, and all of a sudden it's like the goddess is crying. What? 1 minute it'll be all nice and sunny, and the next it's like Zeus himself has a vendetta against you and lightning falls from the fucking sky. Holy shit, what's going on? Run, Jupiter, run! And then it's all nice again. How swell. The temperature's also dynamic too, so 1 minute will be nice and warm, and all of a sudden you're freezing your ass off! Put on that warm coat! Fucking wear that shit! Stay warm. Ooh, a dragon. Ahem. The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild is an absolute masterpiece, and is definitely a reason to justify picking up the Nintendo Switch right now. Assuming you don't already have the Wii U, in which case you might as well just get it for that. This game is absolutely incredible, and definitely worthy of the 10 out of 10 reviews it's been getting from all across the web. So overall, with the games available on the Nintendo Switch, there's not a whole lot here, but the games it does have are very good games. I see this system being especially popular with indie games due to its portable nature. Games such as, Binding of Isaac, Shovel Knight, Stardew Valley, games of that level of caliber would be exceptional to play on this system and be able to take them on the go with you, as well as being able to play them on a TV. The whole portability factor alone I see being enough of a reason to pick up some indie games like that on this system, even if you already own them on your PC or whatever else you play them on.
Overall, the Nintendo Switch is a very impressive piece of hardware. There's not a whole lot of games available for it right away, so there's not really a need to get one right now, unless you really want to play Zelda, which I don't blame you, that game's amazing, and you don't have a Wii U to play it on. But it's not 100% vital to get a system right now, but if you were to pick one up right now, I'd say it's really good. It's a good system. It will be worth picking up the system later on when more games come out for it, like Splatoon 2, Mario Odyssey, and even something like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Until then, you can wait, unless you really want Zelda, which I really want Zelda, and I own it. Even I want it. So yeah, I don't have an issue with any of the hardware except the dock. Nintendo, fix that freaking dock. Scratch my motherfucking screen. So that being said, guys, I've been Super Sheendog, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace. That's not a B sign. Peace.